Hey everyone, it's JT, and this is a live stream that we're doing here on YouTube called Help Me Get Hired, sponsored by our company Work It Daily. I'm going to get started here in just a minute, but we're going to do a sound check since this is our first time and make sure that everything is working properly and that we can get a whole bunch of you on here chatting with me today. So if you're here and you can hear this, go ahead and pop a little A-OK in the chat for me so that I know that we are good to go. And while you're doing that, I'm actually going to come up on the screen and say hello. Hey everyone, this is pretty exciting for us. So for those of you that are familiar with Work It Daily, this is the YouTube that turns frustration into career success, and the amazing team here is producing content on a really consistent basis, putting out at least a couple of videos, if not more, per week. But one of the things we've always wanted to do is a live event. We do a lot of webinars that are live, but the power of the YouTube platform just seems so perfect for us. So in the coming weeks, you're going to see us start live streaming on a pretty consistent basis. We're going to build a show out based on your user feedback, which is super exciting. And today, what I wanted to do is just kind of take you through a walkthrough of some of the things that we love to do with people when they're, looking for work or trying to change careers or just trying to improve themselves better overall. Just some of the fun things that we do here. So I'm going to do a couple things, and then I'm going to actually open it up to all of you. I can see when I'm not staring at you in the camera right here, right now. I have this little chat here, and I can see when you post questions to me and shout out. So make sure you do that, and I can answer your career question here in real time today. Okay? All right. So the first thing that I'm going to do, just in case people are here and they're not really familiar with, who is this woman that's sitting here. My name is JT O'Donnell. I'm the founder of Work It Daily. I've been at this for a really long time. I actually don't love that number's up there. 18 years in staffing and recruiting and career coaching, specifically for the last 15. So I started this company, this idea to bring career coaching to the masses back in 2008. And fast forward to today, and the team here at Work It Daily has helped us grow. We have over 2 million followers on LinkedIn, millions more on other social channels. We have 1 million people per month visiting our site, and we have the only out there right now membership site, monthly membership career support system, where for a couple cups of coffee a month, literally, for a few cups of coffee a month, you can work directly with me and the rest of the career coaches here and get anything you need to advance your career. So people who are in job search and need their resume reviewed and their LinkedIn profile reviewed and their cover letter reviewed and interview prep, that's what our company does. That's what we do on a day in, day out basis with thousands of our premium subscribers. So really fun stuff. We love what we do. Hopefully you're going to see how much we love what we do going forward here on this live stream each and every week. But that's just a little bit about me and the rest of the organization. And now I'm going to move on to the good stuff. So going to start today off with an article that sort of blew up on Inc. magazine. And it's all about the question that you should always ask in the job interview to make sure you don't end up hating your boss. And so I thought I would bring that article up so you could take a peek. And we're going to make sure that we share the link in here for you as well. So why do this? Why does it matter? Why should you even ask questions in an interview, right? But the reality is that most of us don't want to work for an employer. We want to partner with an employer. We want to feel like they're equal. We're a business of one, and we're selling our services to them. And in exchange, we want a really good customer. We want a customer that we want to serve each and every day. And there's nothing worse. And please raise your hand out there. By the way, shout out to Vin. Hi, Vin. Hi, Hamza. Great to have you here. If you have ever had, give me a shout out, a bad boss. If you've ever had that boss that just the moment they open their mouth, you are holding your breath. Am I going to get yelled at? Am I going to get criticized? Am I going to feel stressed out based on what they said? We've all had them. I mean, I've certainly have in my really long career. And it's really difficult, and you want to get out. I mean, there's tons of studies that say that's the number one reason people leave jobs is the manager. So what if you could ask questions in the interview that would help you figure out if this boss was a good fit for you or not? And that's what this article is about. Because there are questions you can ask, and I want to bring those up and show them to you because I think that's pretty important. If I can get this right. There we go. These are the questions, and it's really a two-parter, I'll tell you, that can make all the difference for you. And the first one is, tell me about the most successful hire you've ever made. So here you are, you've got this hiring manager. Obviously, they've hired other people in the past. You want to know, in their personal opinion, who's the best hire they ever made. because we all have them. As a manager, we do. You kind of have in your head these standout individuals. And I'm shamelessly going to plug right now that that's how I feel like about everyone here at Work It Daily. We're a really small, tight-knit team, but I'm just so proud of the people that I work with here every day. But that wasn't always the case. And I can tell you about a bunch of hires I've made in the past where I go, oh, that was a bad hire. It just happens. So if you were to ask me about the most successful hire, I'd launch into an answer, as would most managers for you. Now, the follow-up to the question is, what did this person do to be so effective in their new role? Because you kind of want to get to the heart of it. You want to get to the specific things this person did. How did they alleviate that boss's pain, solve their problems, make their life easier? Because ultimately, if you want to have an incredible relationship with a manager, you need to take stuff off their plate. When you make their lives easier, they never want to lose you, and they certainly don't want to disrespect you because you do something important for them. So don't you want to get to the heart of it? Now, when you ask this question and you start to listen to the person responding, you are then saying, does that sound like me? Do I sound like the person they're talking about? And I give a couple of examples inside this Inc. article about when you might want to run for the hills and when you know you've got a good manager. So, a classic example would be a manager that says, oh, so-and-so came in, we had a ton of problems. She worked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. She was working weekends for like 3 months, and she totally got this situation fixed for me. And you're thinking to yourself, I'm not working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for you. No way. That's not what I agreed to. There's the warning sign. But then maybe you have a different boss who says, oh, the best employee I ever had. We really synced in a communication strategy. She was so productive. I swear she could get all her work done in less than 40 hours. It made me feel like she had everything under control. I saw that she had really great work-life balance. And she just was an overall great person that I knew I could rely on. I really trusted her. Okay, totally different scenario. And now you can say, does that sound like me? So huge opportunity here for you to kind of kick the tires, look under the hood, and get a sense of whether or not you vibe, you sync with this manager or not by asking questions like this. Now, if you haven't already, just so you know, we have a killer video here on our YouTube channel called The 8 Smart Questions You Should Ask in an Interview. And this is just one of them. So if you like this and this makes sense to you, I'm going to tell you to head on over after this live stream. Make sure you watch 8 Smart Questions to Ask in an Interview. Really insightful, and it's going to give you all those secret weapons you need to figure out if this is the right employer for you, if this is the right boss for you, okay? So be sure to check that one out. All right, so I hope that made sense to everybody. Really good stuff there. I'm going to jump back over and say, Sonia, hey, shout out to Sonia as well. We've got a bunch of people jumping on here now, which is really cool. So now that we've talked about that a little bit, I'm going to move on here and do another fun thing, maybe, if we can. This is something that we love to do. It's called Pimp My Profile. So here are the rules of engagement for everyone. If you are willing, what you can do is give me your LinkedIn profile, so your public URL for LinkedIn, the one that anyone would see if they looked you up on LinkedIn. And if you pop it in here, I can bring it up on the screen and I can tell you exactly from top to bottom what you're doing right on your LinkedIn profile and what you could be doing better on your LinkedIn profile. There's always room for improvement. I'm never going to diss anybody. I'm always going to find something that's good on your profile. But I think a lot of times people don't understand how important it is to build their LinkedIn profile from the recruiter's POV. You need to know how recruiters use LinkedIn and therefore how to design your LinkedIn profile. I've seen people put so much time and energy into LinkedIn profiles and they're horrible for recruiters. And they're not getting any traction. In fact, one of the biggest things we do, as I mentioned inside the Work It Daily premium subscription platform, is do exactly this, the Pimp My Profile. But then we work with the person until their profile is absolutely perfect. And every single day people are coming in and going, oh my gosh, JT, I got 100 views on my profile. I've never had that before. Well, yes, because you need to know how to kind of game the system when it comes to your LinkedIn profile. So, all right, let's see if we get somebody. It looks like we do have some people potentially posting. So don't be shy. Please post for me a LinkedIn profile. And if you do, I will do a Pimp My Profile for you. But while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to turn to open Q&A. So this is the other thing that we want to be able to do here on live stream for you, which is answer career questions right here in real time. So if you have a question, I want you to put it in the chat here right now, and I will answer it for you. It helps, by the way, if you put the word question in all caps first, and then write your question. Not in all caps, though. If you write the question in all caps, I feel like you're yelling at me. If you just write question, it helps me kind of pick it out of all the chatter. So that would be nice if you could do that. And I am happy to answer that for you. So while I'm waiting for that from all of you, I'm also going to ask, what do you think so far of us doing this kind of live stream? Do you think there are topics that we could do every single week that you all might be interested in? Plus, you get to meet other smart professionals who are hanging out and, share stories and that good stuff here in the chat. And we'll see what you have to say about that. All right, so no questions. All right, I'm going to stay on it. I'm not going to leave. I'm just going to hang out here on YouTube until I get a question. So somebody better help me out, or I'm going to feel really lonely while I'm waiting for this. In the meantime, I'm going to at least thank Vin and Hazma and Sonia for being here. It's very kind of you to stop by. Very helpful. And Dave. Hey, Dave. Oh, Dave, thank you for giving me something to look at. Dave says, I've had a little help with the profile already, but as you said, there's always room for improvement. I totally agree with you. So if you send that to me, I can take a look. And let me see what else we've got. I also have there's a user submitted profile from Facebook, but I am not seeing any links. So I'm going to ask my team to copy and paste the links for me because I am not seeing them here in my little feed. So you've got to give me the actual link or I will not be able to open it for you. But if you guys do that, I will. And Dave, definitely send it to me. If you've had help, that's fantastic. That's what we're looking for. I might just look at it and go, double thumbs up, you're rocking it. Or I might find something. Who knows? All right, drum roll. I can't wait. Let's see if it comes up here. Maybe it's just a little slow and we're learning that the chat can be a little slow here on YouTube. See, these are the kinds of things we want to figure out, my friends. Oh, well, thank you. And we've got somebody saying interested in weekly videos. All right. Well, we've got one vote so far for a weekly live show. All right. Let's see. One question is, how long does it take to get hired as a program manager? Ooh, that's a loaded question. So let me give you some stats first. The average job search in America, and this varies from country to country, but in America, where we do a lot of our work, is about 9 months. 9 months, almost a year. And the reason for that is that the majority of people are approaching job search the wrong way. So they're using outdated methods of job search. And let me tell you what those are. How many people here, raise your hand, give me a little check mark, if you're guilty of just getting on job boards every day, looking for jobs that you think you're a match for, and then applying. And you're like, well, I'm like a 70% match for that job, I'm going to apply. Or, I'm so overqualified for that job, I'm going to apply. Every day, we have people join us who say, I've been looking for work for 7 months, and I've submitted 300 applications, and no one's calling me. And I get to be the bearer of the bad news and say, okay, the problem with that is that no one is even seeing your applications. And I'm going to jump on here with you just to kind of talk about that. So when you apply online, 97% of the time, the applicant tracking system is physically screening you out before a human eye even sees it. It does not work. People that are getting hired today and hired fast are going around the applicant tracking system. They do not make it their first interaction with the employer. What they do instead is create a very targeted process and strategize on the kinds of jobs, companies, employers they want to work for. And then they build a way to get in touch and connect with those companies so that when they hand off their resume and their cover letter or their LinkedIn profile to them, they get noticed. And there's a whole strategy around that. I want you to think of it this way. Have you ever seen those people that are on the sidewalk and they're just kind of handing out flyers to everybody? Most people don't take the flyer. Well, when you're applying to jobs online, that's exactly what you're doing. You're trying to hand out a flyer to everybody, and most people don't take your flyer. Instead, if you were to research who you knew really needed this information and why, and you reached out to them in the right way and said, it's really important you get this information and here's why, somebody will pay attention and go, okay, thank you. And that's the problem that most people have in job search. So that long job search is indicative of a bad job search. Now, I will tell you inside our program, we've seen the average be about 3 to 4 months. And it depends on the person. It depends on their skill level. It depends on how much time they're devoting to the job search. Because I've seen some people literally come in our program and in 30 days have 2 job offers. I've seen other people get into the interview process, but they're going for big jobs. And those jobs, the interview process itself takes 2 months. So even if you're doing the most efficient job search on the planet, I would tell you that you should plan for about 4 months, even if you're doing a killer job. Everyone here should be thinking that my next job, if I really go for it, could take me about 4 months if I do it right. And if I don't do it right, then I should expect that it's going to take a lot longer, because that's just what it takes. It's not a quick and easy process. And so it's really important that you build the right strategy so that you can be as efficient as possible with it. Okay, so I know that was a long answer to give, but I kind of like to educate people on what's really happening out there, because people come every day and say, oh, job search, it's not working for me. Well, it's probably because you're not doing the right kind of job search. That's what we're here for. That's why you should subscribe to our channel. Okay. Let's see. Mariano. Hey, Mariano. I have a question. In LinkedIn, when you apply to a job in the job portal, you actually can see the number of applications the job had. Usually are thousands. How does the recruiter review them? That is a fantastic question, by the way. For all of you that don't know, when you go to LinkedIn, if you apply to a job there, it will physically tell you how many people applied. If there are thousands of people, the likelihood of you being contacted is very slim. The way it works is that the first few that apply generally get seen. That's why they really encourage you to try to be one of the first 10 people to apply on LinkedIn, because the likelihood of your profile being seen is much higher. I will tell you, after the first 50 applicants or so, recruiters really start to drop off, because they've probably found 5 or 10 in those 50 applicants that fit what they're looking for, and they're going to start a phone screening process. They're not going to screen all 1,000 plus people. They're only going to screen maybe 5 to 10 people tops, and then based on that, bring those people in for interviews. So the key with LinkedIn is for you to be one of the first 10 to apply. You really want to look at it that way. Now, if I saw something that had 1,000 applications, I would immediately know I'm probably not going to get looked at. So this is where I would implement the go around the ATS strategy. And this is something that we teach inside the Work It Daily platform, which is how do you go find and connect with people at the organization? What do you say to them that's appropriate, so that they will connect with you and actually refer you to the hiring manager? And there are very important steps you need to take. I see lots of people not doing that the right way, and reaching out to strangers and saying, would you introduce me to the hiring manager? You can't do that on LinkedIn. There's protocol. There's a very specific way you need to do this to be respectful. It requires a lot of emotional intelligence, but it does work. And so my advice to you is, if you see a job and you absolutely know that's the job you want, but there's been a lot of applicants, you need to start to work around the process. Okay? All right, great question, by the way. Thank you for asking it. So Dave, I am not seeing your URL. It's not letting you populate it. So what you can do is, everyone who wants to do that, is put the / in and give me your LinkedIn URL. In fact, I'm seeing one here, and let's see if I can get this to work. And we will do a little Pimp My Profile if we can. So give me a second here. Let's see. We're going back to that. You guys will give me a minute. I will bring it up, and we will do a Pimp Your Profile, because it's very fun. Let's see if I can get this to go up. Drum roll. Maybe, 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 maybe. It's thinking. All right. Well, there we go. I think we have one here that we can use. Oh, and I see, you know what, Dave, I see yours too. Bear with me. Stick with me. Let's see if we can't get yours up here also. And we got it. We got it. Okay, you guys, thanks for the break there. Here we go. So are you ready? Let's bring this up so you can all take a look. Ta-da! Here we are. And now an episode of Pimp My Profile featuring Dave. Dave, thank you for being so brave. First of all, everybody give him a round of applause. Give him little claps in the chat here. Dave is willing to put his profile out there, which is fantastic. Let's see if I can get this messaging system off of my screen for you. And there we go. So Dave, first of all, my question to you would be, why the beautiful picture of the golf course? I would automatically assume that golf has something to do with your work. Or maybe it's a hobby or a passion. So I'm not sure what's going on there. So it would pique my interest as a recruiter, but I'd also wonder, is it relevant? So kind of a neutral opinion on that. I'm not feeling strong one way or the other. What we usually do for people who want to play it safe is say, select a photo that speaks to the industry you're in. Or maybe you live in a major metro city, so you put a picture of that city up there. So it would give some sort of physical identifier of you and your profile. But I'm not getting 100% sense on this yet, so I'll have to read on, won't I, and figure out what's going on. Now, I like that you're smiling and you're engaging in this photograph. My challenge is that you have sunglasses on. So recruiters are a picky bunch. I just want to let you all know. And I can say that because I was one and I work with thousands of them. Their job is to screen out. Their job is to have bias. I know that sounds crazy, but if you've got thousands of applicants, you're trying to hone in. So for some recruiters, they'll like this look. For others, they'll say, I don't like that I can't see his eyes. Why can't I see his eyes? What's he hiding? And I know you think I'm crazy, but I'm not. And I can get recruiters to corroborate that for you. So my one advice to you would be probably to consider finding another great smiling photograph close up like that, but to make sure that you don't have the glasses on so that they can see you, okay? All right, now I'm gonna move on to this right here. Do you see this right here? This is prime real estate. This is your headline. And this is where you are sorted in the LinkedIn algorithm. So everyone take notes, because if I'm a recruiter, I'm going to be searching for you based on the key skill sets that I know you have to do this job. So I'll be told that maybe you need a certain type of software experience, or you need to be a certain type of developer. I'm going to be given a set of criteria, and that's exactly what I'm going to go in. In fact, if I pay for the recruiter platform on LinkedIn, it lets me choose key skill sets. Now, if the key skill sets that I choose are in your headline, your profile headline, you go to the top of my pile. Here's what I can tell you. Nobody is searching on the term Superion. So putting in your company name isn't necessary. And you have a lot more real estate here than you're using. So a software release specialist, senior at Superion, I would say senior at Superion, you don't even need that. What I would want to see here instead, and I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom to tell you, we're going to go down here, we'll come back, don't worry, but I want to get down to your endorsement section right here. I want to take a look at all of your most popular endorsements. So operating systems, SQL, shell scripting, C, these are HTML5. You want to take the top 5, 6 of these that you know you want to do in your next job, right? Maybe it's Scrum or JavaScript, I don't know. But take the 5 or 6 that you know you want to work on in your next job and get them up here in this headline, Dave. And use the vertical line divider. Because then as I'm a recruiter and you show up in my search results, you're going to show up in the top of my search results. And I'm going to very easily be able to read your headline with those vertical line dividers, and boom, I'm going to want to click on your profile. So you've got an opportunity here to really improve the usage of your real estate. All right, moving on. So I like that this summary is short. Oh, let me just tell you, the epic novels that I've seen here, the epic novel will fail you. Recruiters are skimmers. They do not read line by line. Less is more. White space is gold. So the one thing I would say about this is probably in a little bit too much of a paragraph format. I personally would love to see just 1 or 2 sentences that quantify your experience, followed up by a nice little list of your top 10 key skill sets in a vertical format. Because that's telling the recruiter to read the 2 sentences and then draws their eye into the list, and also would make them scroll down to read the list, which is going to get them to come down here and take a look at more of your work history. Okay, so that's the changes that I would make there on that. Now going down into your work history, let me just tell you what we're always looking for. Somewhere between 5 to 7 really simple bullet points that are numbers driven. You have crushed it here, Dave. Crushed it, crushed it, crushed it. I love what I'm seeing. My eye immediately goes to 289 functions, this little piece over here, right? 95% code average, 76 pester. Like one thing I might think about is adding more numbers. So you say daily Scrum meetings with DevOps team members. How many team members? How many people were on that? How many internal, external customers? Give me a guesstimate. There's always a way for us to quantify our bullet points a little bit more. So if anything, I would say give me a few more numbers in here because you're on the right track. But the fact that you've kept these simple to one line is so easy to read that as a recruiter, I can go check, 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 and know that you've got that experience. And I said, I'm seeing that throughout here, which is really good with those jobs. So great job on that. The rest of it is generally less important. Recruiters might go hunting for your work, your certifications or your education, that kind of thing. You can have those down there. But really this top part that I just went through, that's the prime real estate that recruiters want to be able to quickly go through and get a sense of who you are and whether or not you meet their criteria. I will also tell you one last thing, that the other reason I want to see you put these key skill sets not only in the headline to make you show up more, but also in the body of the summary, and even making sure that they show up here in the bullet points, is keyword density. So having those keywords in your profile more frequently is going to send a message to the LinkedIn algorithm that you're very relevant in those key skill sets. So we always want to be thinking about those folks. Part of being successful in job search is understanding your brand, your business of one, and what you market. And that means getting very clear on your transferable skills, those key skill sets, and making sure they're showing up consistently throughout. Okay? All right. But there you have it. Pimp My Profile. Great job, Dave. Again, round of applause to you for sharing this. This is fantastic. All right. So I want to give a shout out to some of the other folks that are here. Hey, William. Thank you for coming by. Great to have you here. Now, some of these names. Hey, Ali or Ali. I hope I'm saying that right. Hey, Jesse. Jesse, thank you so much. That's really sweet of you. Love you back. Some of the names are hard, and I had a hard name growing up, and I hate to mispronounce them, so I'm going to try to say them all, but if I say it wrong, you can correct me. So, Abdesalam, I hope I'm saying that right. Shout out to you as well. All good stuff. All right. Well, any other questions I can answer for all of you? What do you think? Did this help today? Did Pimp My Profile help? Super fun. Fun to do. Very good stuff. And, you know, again, for all of you that want more information on what to do with your LinkedIn profile, we have a bunch of free tutorials right here on YouTube. Just put in the search bar in our channel, LinkedIn. You're going to come up with them. We're always talking about LinkedIn here. In fact, sometimes I feel like we're the only ones on YouTube talking about LinkedIn here. So there's some really great videos that you can watch that will help you with that as well. We've got hours and hours of video here. So we hopefully you want to binge watch at some point in time. Oh, all right. It sounds like we've got one more person that wants a LinkedIn Pimp My Profile. I will do one more because I am feeling good. Let's do it. Let me see if I can bring one more up here. And can I do it? Can I do it? Is it working? Bear with me, team. No. That profile is unavailable. So that's one of the challenges. We'll have to figure out how to do this in advance, folks. Some of these profiles are just not coming up for us here. I do see one from Vin, though. Let's see if I can get Vin's to come up. Let's see. One more. Seems like you guys really like these. So, of course, I want to do a crowd pleaser. All right. We've got Vin Pastino. Vin, let's do this. Are you ready? All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let me bring it up. Here we go. Ta-da! Pimp My Profile starring Vin Pastino. So first of all, okay, great question, or great example, I should say, of what I meant about Vin. I totally get what industry you're in. The picture at the top, I see all the data warehousing. I know that I'm talking to an IT guy. Love it, love it, love it. So easy for me as a recruiter to know that. Secondly, loving the photo. You're smiling, you got a neutral backdrop, nothing distracting behind you. You look totally engaging. You look like somebody who's gonna be cheerful when I pick up and talk to you on the phone. So fantastic, knocked it out of the park. Second thing that I'm loving, actually third, right, both photos, is your headline. This is what I meant about the vertical line divider, folks, and how he's got these various key skill sets in there. What I would tell you is that, similar to Dave's, take out the word experienced. Nobody's actually going to search on that. And you've already got IT manager, and I would take out IT project management and IT process improvement. You only need the IT in there one time. So do IT manager, project management, process improvement, and then go back to your endorsements and grab two more, because I can tell that you can sneak two more in there. And once you've got those in there, Vin, it's only going to increase the recruiter searches. You want the density of those skill sets in there. That's exactly how I want you to design it, right? Because that is looking superb. All right, moving on down, let's take a look at the summary. Okay, so my summary advice to you is this is too long. So I'm a recruiter and I look at this and I go, oh, that's a lot. That's a lot to read. And so what happens is I don't read any of the first two paragraphs and I go to the place that has the most white space. My eye is drawn into the very bottom. So at the very least, what I'm taking away are your technical proficiencies there. So that part's good. But the whole first paragraph, too long. It should be just one or two sentences. X plus years of experience working on projects ranging in the size of this to this, leading teams ranging in the size of this to this. Something super simple and quantifiable. The second one, your specialties, should be those top 10 key skill sets. So you've got too many in there and you've got them in a paragraph format. I'm not going to read that as a recruiter. You've got the keywords in there, but not in a visual format. So I would rather see you cut that down and get to 10. And here's another little tip I want to tell you all. Folks that are really accomplished and seasoned in their career tend to put a lot more into their profiles because they've done a lot more. And you might feel like, well, I need to show them all I can do. Actually backfires on you. When you information overload on a profile or even a resume, what you're doing is, this is everything I've ever done. So if the recruiter then doesn't see the specific experience they need, they'll toss you. And on top of that, they can get visually overwhelmed and say, this person's going to be high maintenance. They've got too much experience. They're going to be too set in their ways. This isn't the right person. You don't want to send that visual message. So that's another reason why this summary has to be greatly pared down. All right. And I know you can do it. You just got to weed whack it. You got to cut it back and create that white space, that simplicity. Make me want more. Make me need to go down the page, Vin, and read what you've got going on in your work history. Now, down in the work history, you've kept these simpler, but they're in paragraph format. So I'm going to advise you to take this great information I see here and follow what Dave did. Did you see the nice bullet points Dave had? Everything was on one line. If it wrapped, it only wrapped a little bit. He had numbers, and he was able to very simply tell me what he got done. This paragraph format's too long for me as a recruiter, and I'm not going to read it. And I know you're saying, oh my gosh, JT, but that's a recruiter's job. It is. But when you have to read so many in a day, you get adept at skimming. It's what you do. And you start to look for keywords. So you've got to make this much easier for them to be able to see those keywords. See, now here's a great example. If I go down and look at this job, look what you did here. So you know how to do the white space thing. This is the first thing as a recruiter my eye's going to stop on. My scrolling is going to stop here. And if I see the stuff I need, bingo. If I don't, then I might start to decide you may not be the right person for me. So in all of this work history, let's see if we can't get it to that very simplified bullet point format with the numbers to validate this. Once again, Vin, you've got great experience here. What I don't want to do is overwhelm the recruiter. I want to give the recruiter just enough information to make them want to pick up the phone. When you have somebody reach out to you and say, you know, I saw your profile, I saw your resume, but I need more information. And even if they say to you, you know, you really need to add more information to your profile or to your resume, you just smile and nod and you don't change a thing because it just proved the fact that it worked the way it was intended. It got them to call you. Never, ever forget that. Okay. All right. Great job, Vin. Wonderful job. I say a few minor tweaks here and this is going to be even more improved for you. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Do I have any more questions that I can answer for the team today? I see one from William. William says, if I have an interview tomorrow and join Premium, would I be able to walk someone through regards behavioral interviews? Well, let me tell you how that does work. So you're asking a great question. So we have a course. All of our coaching is done first through video tutorials. So you would be able to instantly log in. We have one of the most comprehensive interview prep tools ever, including the 21 most common behavioral questions. So what you do is you watch a video that tells you why these are common questions, and we tell you exactly how to answer them. So we walk you through what a right answer would look like. Then you're able to put those together. It doesn't look like you would have time to then put those all together and submit them because we have you, if you want to, write your answers out, send them into career coaching, and career coaching will take a look at them and say, yeah, you're answering these properly, or oh no, this isn't the direction you want to go in. So you can do this with us. I'm just not sure that you'd be able to do all that turnaround quickly, but what you would be able to do is absolutely watch our videos and make sure that you know how to answer those 21 questions correctly, and at the very least, start to organize those thoughts in your head, okay? Really, really key. But, you know, speaking of that, interview prep is enormous, folks. I cannot even tell you. It is so hard to get an interview. On average, it takes about 10 tries, 10 interviews to get a job these days. So interviews are coveted. And doing well in an interview is much harder than it's ever been before. Employers expect a lot out of you, and I think we all know that. So do not skip that prep step. It's good to hear that you're thinking about that, William. Fantastic. Jesse says, how do you create value for yourself when your work is very humanitarian based? Well, that's a super question. So a lot of times we talk to you here about value to the employer. In humanitarian efforts, it's about the pain you alleviate and the problems that you solve. Maybe it's not monetary, but it certainly is valuable. And I think the numbers speak for themselves in terms of the number of people that you serve, or that the size and scope of the impact that the work you do provides. Those are important things. I also guarantee you that in your humanitarian work, there's probably a lot of things that you do repetitively. There are skills that you develop. There's a certain amount of people that you work with. So there's always a way to kind of quantify that value on the humanitarian front. Oftentimes what we have people do is in Work It Daily is they draft their resume and they just tell us, well, these are the things that I've done. And then we say, okay, now go back through and circle every noun and every verb. because every noun is a thing, is a number that you probably could add a quantity to. And every verb is an action that you probably could give us some size and scope of the action, a percentage or something like that. Maybe not every single time, but it is a really easy exercise for you to figure out those various places where you can add some more quantifiability to, yes, is that a word, quantifiability, to your resume, your LinkedIn profile, etc. Great question. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. Was this helpful? Can you guys tell me yes or no? Tell me your favorite tip. Did you get something out of today? If you did, what is it? And also, what other tips do you want? What other things do you want to see here in our live stream each and every week? What can we be doing that gets you motivated to really focus on your career? Because, so this is the main thing. We're so busy working in our jobs. We're so busy working in our careers, grinding, doing the same things over and over again, that we don't ever step back and work on our career. And if you ask any successful person, they will tell you it was the strategy. It was the focus on how they were going to move the needle and make things happen that made all the difference instead of just grinding along. So what we want this show to be is that way for you to take time every week to work on your career. Come in here, have some fun, hopefully learn something, be a little entertained. I know I'm a huge career geek, so I'm not that entertaining, but hopefully we can bring you a lot of value and make you leave and say, you know what, I did something for myself this week. I did something for my career every week. The other big reason we want to do this, and I'm just going to get on my soapbox really quick because I can, is that social media is kind of gone, rogue. We know that people spending time on Facebook and Instagram are starting to feel depressed. They're comparing themselves. We know that there's sort of the dark side of social media. But I believe that out of this comes social media 2.0. I believe that we're going to start to actively choose social media that helps us become better, that makes us feel good about ourselves. And so Work It Daily is a social media platform that does that. And we want this YouTube channel to be an extension of that. So when you come here and you join a live stream, I want you to feel good. I want you to pat yourself on the back and say, I did something good for myself today. I didn't just waste time on social media. I got better. I feel better. And that's what this is going to be about. So your feedback, your comments, your suggestions are going to be invaluable, folks, because the more we get that from you, the more we can create that experience that we so badly want to create in social media right now, which is time well spent. Get away from the snarkiness, negativity, come in here and really learn something and feel good about it. All right. So, okay, I'll get off my soapbox now. All right. So I'm going to take the last question or two questions of the day, and then I swear I'm going to jump off, but I'm having a lot of fun. So, Ronak Patel, shout out, hello, says some of the recruiters don't read cover letters. What's the best way to convey our message and share about breaks in resume beforehand? You cannot share in breaks in resume beforehand. I know that's hard. Everybody always wants to do it. In fact, if you try to do it in the cover letter, that is exactly when they toss you in the trash can. You don't want to do that. What you need to do, Ronak, is to create a cover letter that gets them at hello, that is so disruptive and has them so captivated that when they look at the resume and they see the gap, they go, all right, he's got some gaps, but this cover letter is so good, I still have to talk to him. And I'll ask him about the gaps. So we teach something at Work It Daily called a disruptive cover letter. Please check out some of the cover letter videos we've done right here on YouTube after this session because we talk about it. But a disruptive cover letter does get read, and I can vouch for that every single day. We have members of our program who have written a disruptive cover letter for a company, and they get the phone call, and the recruiter says, it's the best cover letter I ever read. And the secret sauce is knowing how to tell the story, knowing how to get them at hello. But when you do that and you captivate them, they want to meet you, they want to know you, and they're going to look past those gaps in the resume, or at the very least want to call and talk to you about them. And then, my friend, it's up to you to be prepared with the right way to respond to that, which is another chapter in itself. It's called the Experience, Learn, and Grow model, and you have to absolutely make sure that you know how to do that when you're answering so that you can really move on, okay? So, cover letters, disruptive cover letters are your secret. All right, last question is from Jessie. My friend Jessie says, can you please tell us how to be happy at our current job and not always want something better? Awesome. We're going to totally end with that today, Jessie, because I could talk about that for a long time. So I dealt with this in my own career. So when I graduated college, there was a recession going on, and I was definitely sort of a job or career jumper in the beginning because I would get into a job, I would like it for a little while, and then I would get unhappy, and it would feel dead end. And I would have to make a change. I remember the first time I ever changed jobs, my parents almost had a heart attack. They were like, you're ruining your career. You need to stay someplace at least 10 years. This was the old school time. And so I kept changing, but after a few times I said, this isn't the jobs, it's me. There's something wrong here. And what I realized, I did a lot of research on it, is that I had fallen prey to extrinsic motivation. So it's a very fancy schmancy term for external motivators or incentives. Most of us, believe it or not, have been raised in a society that bribes us with rewards like praise, right? Being addicted to praise is big. Recognition, money, status, respect. We all want those things. Those are external motivators. And it's like a carrot and it drags us along. The problem is they're not satisfying. They're bribes. And very quickly, once we take the job and the newness wears off, we're right back where we started. So you realize I keep going for that next thing when I have to do the work in here. So when you talk about working on yourself, Jesse, it's about defining who you are and what matters to you. So getting very clear in what you value and what you believe, getting very clear in what you believe your specialty is, how you add the best value, what you prefer to do and why, and then figuring out what those next steps look like so that you can go after them. Now, a really great tool for you would be to take our Career Decoder quiz. If you go over to workitdaily.com/quiz, there's a quiz you can take there, Jesse and everyone else, and it tells you about workplace personas. These are the ways that you like to deliver value in the workplace. And everyone has preferred personas. So you need to start there. That'll get things rolling here a little bit. But then you've got to do that deep self-work on, this is how I like to create value. This is how I can present myself to the world. This is what's going to make me feel more satisfied every day. The next step is then to choose employers that align with your values and your beliefs and your visions and your goals. So there's a whole selection process here that has to happen. And then there's the process of connecting with that employer. When you do that, you will be more happy in your job day to day. Now, all that being said, Jesse, it still shouldn't surprise you that maybe every 2 years or so you get the itch. And that's because you're learning and growing. It's never going to go away. But if you can do a better job of figuring this out and aligning yourself with an employer that's more tightly aligned with you, the chances of you reinventing yourself in that organization and staying there increase. We call it core reach passion here, and we do a whole training on it where once you learn your core skills, if you're in the right work environment, you can start to reach, you can start to ask for special projects and feel comfortable and safe. And as you get better and better, you hit your passion, you find your intersection of what you like to do and in a way that it provides incredible value to the company. When you have that, remember what I said way early on in the beginning of this, that's when your boss falls in love with you. Because that's when you're taking headaches away for your boss, when you're alleviating pain for your boss. This is when you go to them and say, I have an idea, or I want to work on a new project, and they say, go at it. You have earned the right. So it's very important that we go on this journey and get there, because that's when we start to have that career freedom that everybody wants so badly. And you can have it at an employer if you follow that process I just defined. Now, is that an easy process? Can you do it in a week? It takes work, but all good things take work. And it's a big part of what we do inside Work It Daily. This is why we built career coaching, so that people could access it on a daily basis, and we could take them through the exercises that help them figure out that discovery and work in that direction. So definitely something that you should be thinking about, because that satisfaction does come. I'm living proof of it. But you do have to go through that alignment process in order to make that satisfaction greater and get yourself off the external rewards addiction, which so many people have, right? The only person you have to, and I'll close by saying this, the only person you have to impress in your career is you. And when you start to realize that and you own that and you start to do that, everything will change. Everything will change. Unfortunately, most of us are still really worried about what other people think, base our career success on what other people think, and make career choices based on what other people think. And as long as you keep doing that, you are never going to be happy. So, all right, team. Thank you so much. This was really fun. Questions, comments, feedback. Tell us what you think about our live streaming session. What else should we be giving you each and every week? I had a blast. I can't wait to do this again. And keep in touch, right? We'll see you soon. Okay, team. I'll talk to you later. Ciao.